In ancient times, there was a country where a rule dictated that elderly individuals should be abandoned in distant places. In this country, there was a senior minister whose father had reached an advanced age, and according to the rule, he was obligated to send his father away. However, the minister couldn't bear to do so. Caught between his compassion for his elderly father and the unyielding regulations of the country, the minister devised a plan. He pretended to take his father to a remote location, but, in reality, concealed him in the basement of his own home. One day, deities brought 2 snakes to the king's palace. The gods sternly addressed the king, saying, "In your country, is there anyone capable of determining which of these 2 snakes is male and which is female? If no one can discern, you and your kingdom will perish in 7 days." In response, the king issued a nationwide proclamation, promising a substantial reward to anyone who could differentiate the genders of the snakes. The minister, having learned of the challenge, went home and informed his father about the situation. The father confidently replied, "It's simple. Just place something soft on the snakes. The one that struggles is male, and the one that doesn't is female." The next day, when the minister arrived at the palace, he followed his father's advice. With ease, he distinguished which snake was male and which was female, thereby saving the entire kingdom. However, the deities were not satisfied with this accomplishment. They presented a new challenge by bringing in a massive white elephant and demanding the king to determine its weight. While ordinary objects could be weighed, the elephant's size made it impossible to measure conventionally. Perplexed, the king summoned his ministers for consultation, yet no one could devise a viable solution. Similar to the previous challenge, the king resorted to issuing a proclamation, hoping someone would come forward with a solution. The minister, once again faced with a dilemma, sought guidance from his father. Smiling, the father proposed a seemingly simple solution. Have the elephant stand on a boat. As the elephant steps onto the boat, it will cause the boat to sink. Mark the level to which the boat sinks, then pull the elephant out and load stones onto the boat until it sinks to the marked level. Remove the stones and weigh them separately. This way, you can determine the weight of the elephant. Following his father's advice, the minister successfully weighed the elephant. Pleased, the deities expressed their satisfaction, stating, "Well done. I will give you one more challenge. If someone can solve it within 7 days, I will henceforth bless your kingdom." As the deities spoke, they produced a wooden stick and inquired, "Which end of this stick is the tail and which is the head?" The stick appeared identical on both ends, with the same thickness and pattern, making it challenging to discern based on its external features. Once again, the king convened all his ministers for consultation, but like the previous challenges, no one could devise a satisfactory solution. Faced with the dilemma, the king called upon the minister who had successfully resolved the previous 2 challenges, expressing hope that he could come up with a solution once more. The minister, though willing to try his best, found himself unable to think of a solution despite his efforts. Feeling anxious, he sought counsel from his father upon returning home. His father, upon hearing the problem, casually remarked, "Oh, this is easy. Place the stick on the water's surface. The submerged part is the tail and the part floating on the water is the head." Ecstatic with the simplicity of the solution, the minister returned to the palace and promptly implemented his father's method. In no time, he distinguished the head from the tail of the wooden stick. Observing this, the deities expressed their delight, saying, "Your kingdom has such clever minds. I will indeed fulfill my promise to bless your land, ensuring no disasters befall you. Rest assured." The king, overjoyed, said to the minister, "Your intelligence has brought us the blessings of the deities. Whatever you wish for, I will make it happen." The minister replied, "I do not desire any substantial rewards, but I have one request." The king, stroking his chin, asked, "What is your request? Speak, and I will listen." "Our country has a regulation that requires abandoning elderly individuals in distant places. I wish to abolish this rule from today onwards. This is my only request." "Why do you make such a request?" the king inquired with curiosity. The minister explained, "I confess to the king that my father is very old. I couldn't bear to send him far away to die." Despite knowingly violating the rule, I hid my father in the basement of my home. However, during the last 3 challenges posed by the deities, it was not I who answered them. It was entirely due to my elderly father drawing on his rich life experience that he saved our country. If I hadn't consulted my father, the fate of our country would have been unimaginable. Please forgive my violation of the rule, and I implore you to abolish it from now on. I believe not only I, but the entire nation will rejoice." The king, upon hearing the minister's account, agreed, saying, "You are right." The king promptly abolished the unjust rule and issued a decree. The elderly must be respected, and any act of filial impiety towards one's parents would be severely punished. With the king's approval, the minister immediately brought his father out from hiding in the basement, allowing them to live freely. Both father and son received the king's generous rewards. From that day forward, the country not only learned to honor and respect the elderly, but also experienced prosperity and good fortune.